Greetings, Legionnaire! The original Star Wars trilogy feels like a gamble where you as the player always wins. While it isn't perfect by any stretch, it tends to pay off in all the right ways when it comes to character progression. You have Han Solo, who starts off as a self-centered smuggler turned rebellion general, a damsel in distress princess in Leia that becomes the figurehead of that same rebellion, Luke, who begins as a farm boy but becomes the greatest legend known in the universe, and true redemption for a villain that seemed relatively one-note in Darth Vader. Each character grew, morphed, and they changed depending on how the plot progressed or how they affected the world around them. Regardless of which one you gravitated towards, it always tended to pay off. Your expectations were met or generally exceeded. It feels like playing a game of 3-card Monte where you can't lose because every card is a winner. But when it comes to the most recent film, The Last Jedi, that's where things start to change a little bit. My question to you, dear Legionnaire, is this: do you want to play a game? Before we get into it, I have to issue a massive spoiler warning to both The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. If you haven't seen those films yet, what are you doing? Go see them! But this probably won't make much sense if you don't. To frame some of the criticisms levied at The Last Jedi, I set up this little challenge of expectation subversion, which this movie seems to pride itself on. For this video, we'll be focusing on 3 main characters: Supreme Leader Snoke, Luke Skywalker, and Rey. These 3 cards here denote each of the characters. Snoke is the King of Clubs, Luke is the King of Hearts, and Rey is the Queen of Diamonds. I'll ask you to pick which one you think corresponds to that character after I've moved them around a little bit. All you have to do is keep your eye on the prize. Are you ready? Let's start with Snoke. Where is he? Not exactly what you expected, was it? Supreme Leader Snoke was one of the greatest mysteries that The Force Awakens presented. A potentially very powerful Sith ruler, not too dissimilar to Emperor Palpatine, was pulling all the strings. How strong was he with the Force? What were his true intentions? Where did he come from? Was he around during the rebellion? Speculation ran rampant with what the true identity of this veiled antagonist could be. The Last Jedi comes into view, and we see that, unlike the first film in this new trilogy, Snoke would be there in the flesh. Trailers gave us brief glimpses, but nothing could prepare us for his in-person debut. Despite wearing a robe similar to Hugh Hefner, Snoke demonstrated his strength in the Force by generating lightning, utilizing telekinesis, and the ability to bridge minds. But as quickly as he established himself, he was gone. Tricked by his apprentice and cut down right before our eyes. We hardly knew ye seems to be an apt description, because we hardly did. Years of building up a brand new villain in our minds, and he exists no longer. At least, for now. His death, while shocking, felt like it undercut the potential of the trilogy moving forward. This subversion of expectation means that this film isn't Empire Strikes Back, and feels a little bit more like Return of the Jedi by comparison. Alright, you okay? Let's try this again. Let's try to find Luke's card this time. Where is it? Not exactly what you expected, was it? The return of Luke Skywalker was something fans have been waiting for since the 1980s. His tease at the end of The Force Awakens had people excited to see their old hero return to the fold. Luke's youthful exuberance turned confident strength was a story many identified with, which I might cover in another video soon. But, with Luke back, who is to say how powerful he had become? Would he be a mentor like Obi-Wan and Yoda before him? How would his relationship with Leia and Kylo affect the entire galaxy? Would he have a grand Force-powered duel with Snoke? However, much like Snoke, Luke perished. In a grand display of Force projection, his efforts saved the Resistance from utter annihilation. This effort led to his demise. With little interaction with Leia, the younger heroes, or the galaxy at large, Luke's brief time fighting the First Order might be different than what you expected. Not to mention that the old Luke seemed absent from the onset. In his place, a much more cynical and hesitant Luke was found. This character shift alone caused many to feel disheartened that their former hero had been mishandled. How are you holding up? It's a little frustrating, isn't it? Well, you know what they say, third time's a charm. Let's try to find Rey's card. Where is she? Wait a second. Check your clubs. This is Kylo Ren's card. Let me explain. One of the biggest questions proposed by The Force Awakens was, who are Rey's parents? Could she be a descendant of Obi-Wan? Perhaps Kylo's sister whose identity was mind-wiped by Luke? Or the daughter of two powerful Jedi? While Rey struggles throughout The Last Jedi to find out the answer to that very question, we are inevitably led to believe that they were nobody special. Kylo puts it, they were filthy junk traders who sold you off for drinking money. They're dead, in a pauper's grave in the Jakku Desert. But that can't possibly be right. How could fans theorize all this time, have half the movie attempt to find this answer, and have it all still lead nowhere? Meanwhile, while this should have been more of Rey's internal struggle with her parents, it was more so a tale about Kylo Ren and his. Rey's journey of discovery is continually connected to Kylo. Their bond during and after Snoke is a mainstay of the picture. Kylo is dealing with patricide while contemplating the death of his mother Leia. His turmoil, not Rey's, is the story on display here. While he takes strides towards the dark side, he consistently feels the pull of the light. His want to destroy the past is on full display as he kills Snoke and attempts to do the same to Luke. Kylo is a plot-driving force obliterating anyone that stands in his way, while Rey is spinning her wheels, never really changing or gaining the answers she desperately seeks. While this game is meant to address the criticisms of subversion expectation found in The Last Jedi, I just wanted to mention that it should not be taken as film bashing. It just potentially denotes some of the fans' feelings of being cheated out of something that they had expected. The numbered Star Wars episodes rarely take risks quite like this because they can backfire so catastrophically. I personally enjoyed the film, and I just try to remember I'm only seeing about 2/3 of a pie here. Empire Strikes Back wasn't universally beloved when it first came out, and The Last Jedi could potentially garner some of that love for itself over time from that die-hard Star Wars fandom. I also want to keep in mind that a lot of these plot twists, for lack of a better term, could be redacted in Episode 9. Luke could come back as a Force ghost, Supreme Leader Snoke could be using a Force projection technique similar to Luke's and could still be at large, and Kylo Ren could have been manipulating Rey to thinking that her parents weren't anybody special when they were, in fact, and are, powerful Force users. If they continue on this path, however, it basically says this one thing, that this might not be the Star Wars that you're looking for, that things are changing. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed playing this game here with me today. If you did, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with a friend. If you do any of those, do that last one. It helps the most. But if you're feeling extra generous, check us out on patreon.com/criticalreviews to see how you can help fund this glorious campaign to make more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for stopping by, and just remember to adapt and overcome.